Hi, I'm Destiny. Welcome back to Wishful Thinking. I have been gone for quite some time. I want to talk about something I learned though throughout these past few months because I feel like I learned a lot and I kind of just wanted to share it because I feel like it's good advice. So, basically, people love drama and people love to talk. It's like in human nature. People love that shit. Why? I don't fucking know. Because they're bored with their lives, because they have nothing better to do. They will believe any fucking rumor about you. They will. It doesn't matter if it's the truth or not. They don't fucking care. What I've realized is that even if people heard a rumor about you, like, and you know to yourself that it's not true, like, you know it's not true, but they keep spewing bullshit and they keep just believing whatever anybody else is telling them without even hearing any part of your side at all. Let people believe what they want to believe. Because if they truly are believing what other people are telling them about you and you know it's not true, that's on them. That is on them. Period. They're the ones that look stupid. They're the ones who eventually it's going to catch up to them and bite them in the ass. And they're going to realize, oh, it wasn't true. And they're going to be the ones that look fucking stupid. You know what I mean? So let them. If somebody comes into your life and you care about them a lot and you don't really want them to leave, but they do anyway, let them. Like in any situation really of any relationship I've ever had, I've always tried to do my best to fix things and to really try to maintain that relationship, because that's what I never want anything bad to happen. So I will try to do everything in my power to make any type of relationship work. And when it doesn't work, just let them. Let them leave. You can try to tell your side, say like you got into an argument, right? You can try to tell your side and your point of view to this person. But if they're not willing to listen and they're not willing to see it from your perspective as well and try to figure it out, and if they just want to leave, let them. It is not your job to make someone understand you. You can try, but it is literally up to the other person whether or not they're willing, you know? Let them leave. Let them miss out on the good person you actually are. Let them realize later in life that they fucked up by not working it out with you. Let them leave. Let them. Okay. And in my thing, right? Like, it is harder for me to let people walk out on my life because, like, if I care about someone enough, like, obviously I don't want them to go, you know? But at the same time, if you know your intentions are good and they still can't see that and they're just like, nope, 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 I'm leaving, bye. And they're not willing to understand you, you don't really want someone like that in your life anyway. If they're not willing to put in the work in whatever relationship you have with that person, let them leave. Another thing I have learned is that there are good and bad people. And I know it's not as black and white as that, but overall, there are good and bad people. It's a very thin line between good and bad people. The only really major difference, like one major thing about good and bad people is that good people do end up doing bad things, but they learn from those bad things or those mistakes. Bad people don't. So you can be a good person and still end up doing bad things or making a mistake, but you learn from it. And maybe you make the same mistake again. That is okay because, we're only human and maybe we're going to make the same mistake, whatever. But the difference is you're going to learn from it. Maybe it'll take you one or two or maybe even three mistakes, the same fucking one, before you actually fix whatever it was. That means you're trying. And that makes you a good person. Bad people don't. They tend to run from their problems. And when they make a mistake, they do not want to take accountability for that and they don't want to learn from it. I feel like for me, I need to learn to take a step back whenever I hear my intuition kind of going off. Okay. Sorry. That's really funny. The timing of that, by the way. Like that. That's what my intuition sounds like. When I hear that my intuition is telling me something, I neglect it because it comes from a place of like fear. And I never want to believe that it's true. And so what I wish I did was take a step back and like really look at everything and like, okay, my intuition is telling me something's off, something's wrong. So take a step back and really look at the situation for what it is instead of neglecting your intuition and just, whatever. Like, it's there for a fucking reason. It's there for a reason. And every single fucking time, my intuition is always fucking right. Every single time. And I don't want to believe it because for the most part, every time my intuition goes off, it's always something like that I don't want. But it's always fucking true. Every single fucking time. And I wish I listened to it more because it would save me so much like pain and heartache, but I tend to neglect it and I'm trying to learn not to. So please, like, for the love of all that is the fucking universe, do not neglect your fucking intuition. When that thing's going off, at least take a step back and look before you continue. At least do that. I made the mistake of not doing that, and I should, but I didn't. Another thing I learned is that there are people around you that unfortunately do not want the best for you. They will look at you dead in your fucking face and tell you that they do. They don't. They don't. Actions do speak louder than words. There's some people in your life that will build you up just to knock you down because they thrive off that shit. It gives them some type of power trip over you and it boosts their ego in a very evil kind of way. And that is, honestly, it's fucked up that people do that, but it's true. They will manipulate you and they will tell you stuff, but then do the complete opposite. And it's like, you don't want to believe that people could ever do that to you, but they will. Like, a bad person will see a good person and try to flip the script and try to make you look like the bad person. And it really does truly like piss you the fuck off. And it's like you want to say something and you want you're calm, and then it gets to a point where it gets too much and you want to lash out and you want to like scream and yell, and you can't do that because if you do that, they win. It's only going to prove their point. And you know it's not true. But they don't give a fuck. They just want to have some type of power over you. And that's it. That's what they want. And I don't know why. It kind of falls into the category of narcissism. But normalize cutting people out of your life that don't want the best for you, you know? Like, normalize that. Because they really don't. They say they do, and then actions, again, speak louder than words, and they will just show you. Look at people's actions rather than what they say. And I know, like, you want to believe them, and I know, like, they'll say something and you want to believe them. And in your mind, you're like, how can a person that I care so much about, that I would defend them to the end of time, you know? How could a person like that screw me over when I would never do that? And you can't fathom that. And it's so crazy. that people are like that. And I can't understand it. I can't understand it. The thing about me, though, is that sometimes I do stupid shit. I do mess up sometimes. I do make mistakes. I am human. But the thing about that is that I can admit that without feeling any guilt about it, because I do learn from them. And sometimes it takes me a while to realize and learn, but eventually I do, which is good. It's good I do that, because some people can't. Some people don't want to. Some people think that they didn't do anything wrong, and that they will put on this narrative that isn't true, and they will go with it because they don't want to. It's a guilt thing. Like, they don't want to feel guilty that they did something horrible, so they just pretend as if it didn't happen, or etc. That also kind of falls under the umbrella of narcissism. Let's talk about narcissists for a second, because I have dealt with my fair share, for sure. Narcissists love to target people who are good people. And they love to feed off of your energy. And once they are satisfied, or they don't really want that anymore, they will throw you aside like you're nothing. They will put on such a facade and convince you that they are on your side and that they don't want to hurt you. But then what will happen is that once they see that you're fully convinced that they're a good person, they will do a 180 and just completely fuck some shit up. I don't necessarily know if some narcissists know what they're doing. I feel like if you tell a narcissist that they're a narcissist, they simply would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't think narcissists know that they are narcissists at all. I don't think they're aware of it. And I don't think they would want to be aware of it. And it's because narcissists aren't seen in a good light for obvious fucking reasons. And they know that. So, like, they would never in a million years label themselves a narcissist. But they are. And it sucks because some of these people that I dealt with that are narcissists are people I cared so much about. And it sucks because when you realize that they are, it kind of, like, it can be helped, but only if they want help. So it's like, it's like sometimes it's like you can't help them and they can only help themselves. There's only so much you can do before my cat's doing zoomies, before you're like, this is hopeless. And they don't realize it. If you're in any situation with a narcissist, it is not your fault that you got played. Simple terms, it's not your fault. Because you look back and I'm like, there were the signs and I just ignored them. But here's the thing. It is not your fault that they pretended to be a good person and you believe that, because that makes you a good person, because you're like, they are a good person because they're portraying themselves as a good person. And it's not your fault that you got tricked, okay? It's not your fault. It's theirs. They're the ones that did that to you, okay? Don't stop blaming yourself. It is not your fault. It's not. It's simply not. It's all them. It's a them problem. And it's, like, they need to seek out help themselves. And that's kind of what that is. Hold on. Mama, what are you doing? Anyway, sorry. If you're being, like, gaslit, that is not your fault. Especially if it's, like, someone you care about, just, like, let them leave. Like, if they want to leave, let them. Because, honestly, you don't need that in your life. And it's not your job to fix them. And it's just that simple. I put so much energy into people who genuinely don't give a fuck that it can be draining. And it is. And I've kind of learned to, you know what? If you want to leave, leave. Like, I know who I am. I know my heart. I know who I am. I'm a good person. I'm a good person that does really stupid shit sometimes, because, like, every fucking person on the planet, I do have issues. A lot of people have issues. That's what makes us human. We have issues. And it's only up to us to try to cope with them and try to manage them and try to at least fix them. Some of them we can fix, some of them we just can't because it's inevitable, whatever. But for the most part, it's up to us whether or not to better ourselves. I'm a person who tends to let my anxiety really control my life. And it's really hard not to. And, if you have anxiety, you know how hard it is to manage it and not let it take over. And because when that happens, it really does fuck up a lot of shit. It is hard to maintain it. It's hard to maintain it at times, especially if you're put into high stressful situations or something feels out of your control and it's like, fuck. And then your anxiety just goes haywire because you're like, there's nothing I can do about whatever situation I'm in. I'm fucking crashing out. You know what I mean? Anxiety is just, it's really hard to deal with sometimes. And it sucks. If someone isn't understanding of you and they don't care enough to know your feelings or know whatever point of view you have, and they don't take it into consideration, you don't want someone like that in your life. You really, truly don't. And they're not worth your time. They're not worth your energy. They're just not. And I know it sucks to hear that, especially if you really cared about this person or people or whatever. Know that when you let them leave, you tried your best. In whatever situation you were given, in whatever situation you were put in, know that you did try your best. And if they're not willing to work whatever it was out, and if they just want to leave, let them. Because at the end of the day, all you have is yourself. And you cannot abandon yourself for somebody who isn't willing to put in the work with whatever relationship. As much as it's just if you say your piece and it's still not enough, then there's nothing you can really do, especially if they don't want to be understanding. And it's just as simple as that. And it's such a hard pill to swallow, but it's, karma's real. So it will eventually bite them in the ass later. Maybe it'll take a while, but when it comes around, it comes back around, So know that you are a good person. If you know truly that you are, then what's there to worry about? Well, what can they prove? Nothing. They don't have anything on you. They just, nothing but bullshit and words and something they hear from other people that aren't even true. I just hate drama. No, I seriously do. Why would I put my energy into that when I can just focus on myself and be like, you know what? I know that's not true. Why the fuck do I care? Why do I care so much? And that's just it. I don't. And I shouldn't. It is what it is. But that's kind of what I learned. I'm really thankful that I do have a really good support system. And I'm really thankful for everybody who's been there for me. You can see, in the people that are actually there, their actions back up their words, And so you really need to look for that. That's the number one thing about authentic people is that if their actions aren't backing up their words, that's a red flag. And you really need to pay attention to that. And if your intuition is going off and being like, this isn't good, they're not doing what they're saying, or they're contradicting themselves or something, and they're saying one thing and doing something else, know that you need to do something about that. You either need to leave or try to talk it out with them. And if they don't want to talk it out with them, you gotta go. That's what I learned. And that's why I've been away. I don't know why it took me so long to realize all this shit. But you know what? At least I know now. And at least you know now. So please take at least any of the advice or whatever into consideration, because I swear to God, it'll probably save you a lot of pain and heartache. And I wish someone would have told me all of this a few months ago. You live and you learn. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you want, you can follow this podcast at Wishful Thinking Podcast on Instagram, or you can follow me at Destiny Dufo, Dufault. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you listen to the next one, or subscribe, or listen to the previous ones. But yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye.